2022 Metropolitan Traffic and Parking Commission. Happy New Year, everyone. If you are not satisfied with the decision made by the Traffic and Parking Commission, you may appeal your decision by filing for a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed in a timely manner within 60 days of the day of the entry of the Commission's decision. We advise that you seek your own independent legal advice to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met. I ask for approval of today's agenda.
So moved.
There we have a first. Is there a second?
Second.
Yes, council member. Okay, well, we hadn't got to there yet. We'll get to there. That's if we can approve the agenda, then we'll move to the minutes. All in favor of the agenda?
Aye.
All right. Approval of the minutes. Council member, you have a correction?
Yes, Chair, thank you. On NDOT staff reports from Mr. Sandwith, the final sentence, it said, he also noted that in order for a neighborhood to be considered for the program, there's a petition form that must have 70% of the residents in favor of the program. I think that's inaccurate as I understand it.
What page number are you on, please?
I'm on page 4 of 4.
Okay.
Under NDOT staff report.
Okay.
And I don't know if staff could correct that. As I understand it, it's a 60%-ish number particular to physical changes to the street, not just about participation in the program. So I would just ask that the record be updated so that we don't have anything inaccurate in here for the community.
That's a good point. Okay. The staff, do we know what that number is, please?
That is a very valid comment. That is correct, and we'll clarify that.
Okay. So would you like to make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected, please?
Yes, I would make such a motion.
All right. We have a first. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved. Okay. So before we get started, what I'd like to do is we have, on our first day on the job, we have Diana Alacor, who is our new director of Nashville Department of Transportation. Welcome to Nashville, and thank you for making one of the first things you do on your job to come to our commission meeting. Would you like to step forward, and we'd love to hear from you. And then we have Ms. Faye DiMaggio from the mayor's office. Thank you for coming again, as always. Yes.
So good afternoon. My name is Diana Alarcon. I'm really excited.
Well, welcome and thank you again very much. And so we'll look forward to seeing you again here as we move forward with making improvements. Okay. There is no item on the consent agenda. Is that correct? None that I see. Okay. All right. So the next item we have is new business item A, which is to authorize a valet zone. A request to establish a valet zone on the east side of 15th Avenue North at 204 15th Avenue North, 7 days a week from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. This is requested by business owner. Can you provide some background to this, please? Is anyone here to speak about this? Okay. Mr. Hammond.
Certainly can. This is for
Any comments from commissioners, council member?
I would just like to inquire, there's no metered parking here at present, is that correct?
That is correct. There is some on-street parking that occurs, but it is not metered.
Okay, and then can you just share, as a new member of the commission, I know there had been some question about when we converted metered parking to valet parking and the appropriate level of pricing that and charging that. And that had been a pretty public discussion for a while. What do we do in a circumstance like this? So where you're saying it's a 2-space valet zone, meaning, I guess, amount of linear footage. Are we charging by the linear foot, by the capacity for the cars? What is the annual charge to use this amount of public right-of-way for this amount of time? Okay, I appreciate that clarification, and I guess I would just say to the commissioners that from a policy perspective, I would think that that perhaps needs some updating because we have a private entity using public right-of-way, and it's for $50 a year. So I appreciate that. That's helpful to understand the context. Thank you.
So, Mr. Hammond, we had particularly last fall, lots of discussion at this last year about valet parking. And in fact, I think starting over 2 years ago, we started discussions about updating the valet parking rules and pricing, et cetera. Is what you just described, is that what the new policy is? Please, sir.
That would still be true under the new policy for this situation. If there was metered parking and if they were requesting valet space.
And is the $50 fee, is that something that's set by state law? Is that correct, Ms. Costonis?
So it actually derives from the Tennessee State Constitution. I'm sorry, my mask might make it hard to hear me, but it derives from the Tennessee State Constitution. So basically, unless a jury trial presides over a penalty, the assessment of a penalty, it can't exceed $50.
Yes, council member.
If I can clarify, I understand that in the context of a penalty, but this is a permitted usage. So how does that jive, please, Ms. Costonis?
So that, I think that would be different. If it's not like a ticket-like penalty, if it's not like a fine for a violation, then if it's a fee for use, then the analysis there is that it has to just not exceed the cost of providing the service. So if the cost of providing the service is less than what you're charging for the fee, then that could be determined to be a revenue-raising measure, which is essentially a tax, which we don't have authority to do.
Okay, and so then around the valet fee and the reconfiguration conversation that had last year, was there a fee study? Because I would imagine at this juncture, staff time, our presence here, the discussion, the issuance of this permit has already cost far more than $50. So was there a fee study?
I will just defer to staff.
There was not. What we did in the past year was to code and do a better job at implementing the code as it had already been written. The study is one thing. The other thing that we knew was coming was the smart parking initiative, which may look at meter zones altogether. And so we kind of took the simplest path there to try and do a better job of implementing the code as it already stood, including the 50.
So,
Appreciate that.
Councilman, yeah, we had some discussions here to start, and through a lot of give and take with public meetings, et cetera, we evolved into kind of where we are. And we're hoping because one of the things we learned when we started having some of these hearings or comments about valet, meters, et cetera, was there was limited amount of data in Metro to actually do correct or proper pricing that we hope with more initiative and investment we will be able to obtain. Is that correct? I think that's a fair summary. Okay, so is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay.
I'll second the motion.
There is a first and a second. All in favor? Okay, we have 3 ayes. Who's opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain. So, does that pass, Ms. Stunt? Do I need to vote?
I mean, as long as the vote is on the record that we have, was it?
It's,
3 votes in favor and 1 vote against,
yes. 1 abstention.
and 1 abstention.
Yes.
Yes, I believe that was passed.
Okay. All right. So the motion is passed. Okay. Item B, authorized parking restriction. A request to prohibit parking on the west side of Coalmont Drive from Coleridge Drive to Coalmont Court, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., requested by the Metro Nashville Police Department. Yes, officer.
So on this picture here, there at Coleridge Drive, on your bottom right, that is a school. And this was a school zone where we get a lot of traffic queuing. And with the on-street parking there during this time, you end up getting cars blocking traffic trying to get into the school. And this has been requested by our school crossing guard section.
Thank you, sir.
Move
All
to
right.
approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
This has been passed. Okay. I do not think that we have any other items. Mr. Freeze, did you have any comments for us today concerning any matters?
I will be, in the future, I will be taking over the role of staff report for the traffic department.
Okay.
So in the next meeting, I'll be working on that transition in preparation for that.
All right. So, Mr. Freeze, welcome aboard. And I think this will be Mr. Hammond's last meeting. Is that correct? Okay. Well, we will miss you. We thank you for all your service to Metro. Mr. Freeze, we'll look forward to working with you. And we'll look forward to getting some moving forward throughout the year. Any other comments? Yes, council member.
Chair, I've received several questions relayed to me by colleagues and a few from the public. There was a story in the Nashville Post about what I assume is an intent to award particular to smart parking, but I think the headline was sort of like it's a done deal, and I think that was sort of a headline flaw, and I didn't know if staff could just speak to the status on that procurement for the public record, just to address those questions, please.
You can make sure you turn your speaker on, please. There you go.
Am I on now?
Yes.
You know, when it shows up red, you think red means it's not broadcasting. Okay. So that will be coming before this body as well as before council. But we really are just in the contract negotiation phase now. So but it will be coming before this body as well as council, as it would be a normal for that type of procurement.
Okay, well, great. We'll look forward to that. In fact, I was kind of curious what the status of that was. So we're in active negotiations. I understand according to law, there's limited
We are. And it's still the same scope of services, Chairman Green, that we had earlier briefed you on. The scope and the intents and so forth in terms of modernizing the equipment and improving operations and management and all those kinds of things, all that is still part and parcel of exactly how it's being approached.
All right, council members, that address your question?
It does. Thank you, Chair Green.
All right,
Thank
do you
Mr.
have
Massimo.
anything else? That would be a great initiative because, I mean, what's been a struggle as a longtime member of this commission has been absence of data to be able to make some of the decisions that would be helpful to make going forward.
And there's still some of those things. You know, we were very purposeful, and if Metro Legal, correct me, because I don't want to get too far out of what I'm not supposed to talk about. But remember, we purposefully put forward a flexible, it was more performance-driven and a flexible arrangement so that the negotiations can help us to achieve the outcomes that we all know are needed. So that is in part why, this negotiation phase that we're in now, I think is so critically important. Is there anything else I should add there?
Yeah, just to kind of maybe take a couple steps back. So the charter does give this commission the authority to enter into contracts for the management of parking facilities. Like we manage the downtown partnerships management of the public square and library garages. So I think that will also be true for on-street parking, and the process of doing the competitive solicitation, though, is the bailiwick of the purchasing department and the purchasing agent. So that part of the process has been completed, except for the contract negotiations that Ms. DeMassimo mentioned.
So we're more in sort of an intent to award than the process of taking it through the organizations, including this one, to memorialize that.
Well, thank you for that update. Okay.
I would like to say thank you again to Mr. Hammond. And
Yes.
we'll look forward to asking you further questions, I hope, in the future. It's been great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. And again, Ms. Alicorn, we'll welcome aboard. Welcome to Nashville. And looks like you'll have your hands full. And Brad, we'll look forward to working with you. And
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Tighten up.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.